Hello everyone. Let's talk about chess engines today. As we know, Stockfish 15 is the number one chess engine in the world as per the rating you can see in the middle of the screen. If you want to use Stockfish 15 on your machine, it's completely free. I have a link how to install and use Stockfish 15 on your computer. Now, what I want to talk about in this video is the latest games played by these engines. You can see here we have a Blitz rating, so they play 2 minutes plus 1 second increment games, and you can see that Dragon by Komodo, Fat Fritz, and Lilache Zero are just behind. So let's zoom for a minute on the rating links at the top. So here we go, a rating of 3,742 points for Stockfish 15. But Dragon by Komodo is only 5 rating points below. Then you have Fat Fritz 2 from Chess Base and Lila Chess 0, which is also open source. So number 1 Stockfish and Lila Chess 0, these are open source programs, while Komodo, Fat Fritz 2 and Revenge 3, you would have to pay if you want to use these softwares. Now, number 1 Stockfish 15 has been like that for many years. Now, I thought that in this video I would review latest game played in December 2022, so very recent games between the programs, and I would feature Dragon vs Stockfish. But let's analyze that a bit further. As you can see on screen in the middle, when Komodo has a white pieces against Stockfish, they play 50 games, 50 draws. So they take the game no matter what the opening position is set on. Now, when Stockfish 15.1 is playing Dragon by Komodo, reverse colors on 50 games as well, Stockfish or white pieces manage to win 4 games and loses 1. And we have 45 draws. So these engines are so close in strength that they draw most of the games and only you get a handful of games where you have a decisive result. And these games are extremely long, very complicated, and by the thin margin can you detect what's happening in the game. So instead, next, I will focus on Stockfish 15, the greatest chess engine available, and all chess players in the chess world, they're using Stockfish 15. But I like to see Stockfish 15 beating other computers like Fat Fritz 2 or Lilache 0, Stoofvless or Berserk, what have you, Rubichess. You can see all the engine from 2 to 10 in order to see what makes Stockfish better and learn from the best engine, from the engine playing the highest quality chess possible. So here we go now. Let's look at highlights as December Blitz game won by Stockfish 15. The first game I want to showcase is Stockfish 15 winning with the King's Indian defense in a perfect fashion. So here we go. The white player is Rubichess. This is all theory. And now we have a classic plan when black is gonna try to push here and white is trying to advance on the queen side. And here we go, the classic fight of the King's Indian. Black is hoping to target the white king on g1, and white is trying to create some damage on the queen side. So it's a race essentially, and right now we don't know if black's gonna go first or white's gonna strike first. So bishop a7 attacking the rook. It looks like white is making progress. But now this is where the game is changing and putting Stockfish engine on my machine. Stockfish 15 thinks black is better right now, and the move to do so is h3. This is the only move ensuring advantage for black. Of course, white takes the rook, we do h2, and now very important in computer chess, even though we know what the engine with white chose, we need to analyze the lines which were not played, to really understand the play. So let's say in this game, it's a great example, white captured. But if white were to play king h1, what's happening? Simply knight g3 check, and then we capture the rook. And now you have to ask yourself, what can the king escape on f2? And Stockfish 15 would have played queen b6 check, right? So now we have, again, lots of play here, and definitely black is better. So the best move is indeed taking on h2. We give a check, and now what? Here, very nice move, bishop h6, trying to come to e3, and with a check. So here, white tried to block with f4. But let's say knight c2, it's a nice idea, covering e3. So here, Stockfish 15 would play bishop f4, threatening to come here, or to do bishop h2 check. So you will have rook e1, and let's see. And here, once again, knight a4 check. The king has to move. We take on c3, and we are winning. Okay, so here, white try to fight back, and here give back some material. But we can see the attack is going through. So now it's pretty clear that white cannot survive this. Okay, and now how to continue? Another check. Okay, another check. All right, we take the knight on c3 with another check. And now do we exchange the queens? No, we continue the attack by queen e3 check. Now white resign, and on king b1, simply a great move, threatening to come over here, and if white takes, we take with a rook, we're finishing off the king. And here simply queen f3, and we have an extra piece. The knight can come in, we can give some checks, and the king here is under trouble. Beautiful game, starting with a classic King's Indian defense, and here a beautiful touch, which was h3, winning, giving up an entire rook, but pushing the white king. Let's see another game. And now I like to showcase two games from Stockfish 15 against the bishop pair. So let me explain what I mean by that. You can see in both diagrams, Stockfish 15 is playing with the white pieces and has given up the bishop against a knight. So the opposite side has a bishop pair. This is why it's very important to understand computer chess, because you may think, oh, the bishop pair is an edge, I need to get the bishop pair. That's what we learn in the books historically. But here, I want to analyze how Stockfish 15 can win against the bishop pair. And I have two games to showcase. Let's go to game number one. So I'm gonna go quickly in this game, played against Stoofvless 2. This is a Perks defense. And here, a6 played by black, Stoofvless, and you could retreat the bishop on g5. But in here, simply Stockfish gives up the bishop pair. Let's continue, still the opening, and the position is near equal at this stage. And now, let's stop here. Black has a bishop pair, and a very nice knight on d4. White has equal material, two knights and a bishop. I don't know what you think, but if you were to ask me without giving me the result of the game or who is playing, I would think that black is fine. Three active pieces and the bishop pair. And I like the rooks. I don't think the king is in danger. So I would give black the edge. But Stockfish 15 shows that in this position, white is better. Let's continue. And this is the key move of the game. I think the game is changing after that move. Feel free to pause the video, I did not find that move, but here the nice idea is to play knight g1. And all of a sudden, do you have c3? And that knight here has nowhere to go. So b5 played, and of course c4 played, so that the knight here can come to b3, and if you take the knight on d4, black will take on d3. So the bishop retreats, and now we have an exchange. Now we exchange the knight on d4, but keep in mind, black has still the bishop pair. So that bishop on b1, if you follow the classical books, textbooks, you will find out that that bishop seems to be a bad bishop to me. Why is he a bad bishop? Because that bishop cannot really have any pressure. It's blocked by its own pawn. So once again, the bishop in b1 is blocked by all these pawns sitting on knight squares. And that knight on d1 is definitely not active. So if you follow like the, would say, classic chess teaching, you would think black is better. But Stockfish prefers white here. And the reason is the following. I will go to the game, but to understand chess played at the 3700 level, you have here attack on the f file because you're always threatening here, and you have an attack on the a file. So even though you get rid of the bishop pair, and even though you have two pieces being right on the first rank, you have attacking chances here. And that bishop doesn't have a lot to target, and that one is blocked by this pawn as well, and by his own pawn on b5. So here the activity for white is better. Now let's go to the move. Activating the rook, activating the rook again. Now we are targeting the b5 pawn with white. And here, very important, do we exchange the rooks over here? No. What can we do which is better than that? We can take on b5, which is exactly what Stockfish 15 did. Now, if black has taken here, you would win easily because you have a pin on d7, so covering the pin. And here, queen a4, and you're dropping back, and you're getting another pawn with white, and that knight gonna dominate that bishop. That knight will go here, and this is a bad bishop on f6 and a good knight on d1. Good knight versus bad bishop. Amazing stuff. So of course here, black played the best move, which is bishop e7, trying to maintain some pressure in a position and attacking the queen. Now, this is a very tense position here, and it's a critical moment of the game. What did Stockfish 15 play against Stoofvless 2? And there's only one move here, and congrats if you found it. Taking here. Now, obviously, the queen has to take, because if you take with the bishop, this wins easily the queen back. So now queen takes is forced. And here, what to do? Well, the natural move is to capture the queen on f8. That will lose because rook a7, and black is definitely better here. All the pieces on b5 and f8 are on prise. So here, after the sequence, queen f8, rook d7. And now that rook on f1 is defended by the bishop, we're attacking here, and we give up the queen and winning with white. Amazing stuff. And now simply we activate the pieces. And here white is dominating with a rook and knight against the queen. Let me demonstrate that. And here simply check and winning the bishop. So now black has expected to counter with rook a1, threatening here on the first rank. Now in this position, you have another key moment. This is what the engine with black missed. Now, what would you do? Logically, we say, well, you don't want to be checkmated, so you take that queen. You exchange the rooks. But this position, black can give a perpetual check like this. And now you give queen h5 check, queen e2 check. No matter what you do, you're gonna end up with a draw. So in this position, rook take a1 is bad. But rook e8, beautiful deflection. And now we have three pieces against the queen. So the rest is pure technique. From my point of view, not interesting because clearly the position here cannot be saved by black. You can see there's going to be the pawn will advance and there's no way to have perpetual check, and the king will run to f6 or h6 and you will not be able to keep giving checks. And here black had to give up the rook, the queen, and here b2 played, but black resigned without waiting check. And now beautiful bishop a2 over here, and you promote easily. So I think that this game is quite important, that in this position over here, you may think that black is fine, but the power of the files was stronger than the bishop pair here. But I want to show you another example where Stockfish plays against the bishop pair. So in this game, Stockfish 15.1 play against Fat Fritz 2, and there's a controversy between the two engines. You can go on Stockfish website to find out more about that. So I think that these two engines and their programmers, there's a lot at stake when they face each other. Now I'm gonna go, this is a typical English game, and here white Stockfish 15 gives up the bishop pair. Now I'm gonna continue to move 25, and here this is the key position I want to go through. Black has a bishop pair. Now white has some double pawns here, black has some double pawns there. Now the knight on d2 is not super active. If it were on e6 or somewhere there, then I would understand very clearly. So to me, I would say that the position seems to be balanced, but black has a bishop pair. So intuitively again, I would think from human point of view, I would rather play with the black pieces. Now you may say that bishop on c7 is not very active. True, but that bishop on g2 is kind of like blocked by its own pawn, and it cannot go to h3 because that bishop here is very good. So at this point in the game, I cannot say that I would prefer white or understand why white would be better. Even if you move the knight to c4, everything is guarded by that bishop. So I do not see any target, and that is where following Stockfish is hugely important, because that's something that even a top grandmaster with white, I don't know if he would be or she would be able to drive an advantage in this position. But Stockfish does. Okay, so been a lot of maneuvering. Let's stop right here. Now, the position is definitely blocked. You have only one open file, which is this one. And no one is yet covering that file, but this is where the fight will be. Now, the other thing to notice is like that bishop on h3 is horrible. Look at this. That bishop is completely locked down, shut down by its own pawn. So how can white have an advantage? Can the knight go somewhere? The knight is attacking here, but the queen is defending. So it's a bit of mystery, and I think that bishop on a6 is way better than the bishop on h3. So that's really interesting. We need to continue the game to understand what's going on here. A lot of maneuvering, so I'm going quickly here. And now in this position, if you turn on Stockfish, Stockfish believes that white has the advantage here. Now, what I can see clearly is domination of the B file. And we've seen in a previous game that controlling an open file can be more important than the bishop pair. But then again, where do you go with the rook? The rook cannot go here, it's going to be taken, cannot go there, cannot go to b6, so cannot go to b5. The rook has no entry point, so it's a bit of a mystery here. Now in this position, fat freeze 2 goes for c4, changing the position and opening up. Now I was wondering, what if just black wait? What would you do with white? What is a winning plan? And I wouldn't know what to do, so I need to turn on Stockfish 15, let it think, and show me the main line. And this is what Stockfish 15 would play. Attacking the bishop, pushing a6, putting the king on a side, and now black is lost. So if you move and you just wait with the king here, the beautiful e5 wins. And here you are crashing through. The knight comes in, sorry, bishop d5. You're gonna somehow crash through. You also have knight e4. That's completely winning. Okay, that's pretty clear. But here, maybe the best move would be to defend with the king, the g5 pawn. And here, beautiful stuff. Rook b7, an exchange sack would win for white. And that's highly instructive. Pawn break, another push, and now you have these monster pawns here. You gave up the exchange, but you are winning. Let's continue the main line. Check, check. You're threatening checkmate on g7, on rook g8, queen h6, checkmate. So now black would have to exchange. You have your upper queen, and you will agree with me. That's pretty clear that you're winning here. You're gonna have another queen, and that's game over. So we can understand that king h8, just passively waiting, doesn't work. This is why fat Fritz 2 opens up the play. But now, what to do? So my intuition's right. Let's take that pawn and let's open up that bishop comes alive. That's what it is. Not at all. Here, rook e4 would come, and black is doing well. So in this position, king h1, putting the king to safety. Black waits, rook a2. And now, if black keeps waiting, let's say king g7, queen c6, attacking here, and then continuing that plan is super strong. So waiting is not an option because of queen c6. So black takes on g3. Now queen c6 anyway, and here black takes on e4, and white is up a bishop. Now, very interesting here. What if you retreat? Then that would be the main line. If you wait, let me just show you. That wasn't playing the game. And now we have knight d4, rook c6, knight e6, queen can come to b2. Now, this position is clear to me that the knight and the bishop are definitely greater than this bishop pair not doing anything, and have beautiful rooks, very passive black camp. So here I fully can grasp that that position would be better for white. So this is why in the game, black tried to have some counterplay, and it looks to me that the king on h1 can be in trouble, but this is top engine chess, and here black is not able to attack further. We go into the end game. white is up a piece, and eventually converted that. So that part for me, once again, it's pretty much predictable, and we're up a piece, and eventually the final position of the game was here, and black resign, Zugwang, and you're gonna go through and win here with the white pieces. So I think that was a very interesting game. And in this position, it wasn't clear to me that not having the bishop pair will work out. But eventually, superb strategy and win by Stockfish 15 beating Fat Fritz 2. So that game was played in December 17, 2022. It counts into the rating that I showed in the beginning. And with that, I will wrap up this video. Let me know in the comments if you enjoy this kind of content, if you like to see this battle between engines, or if you like to see something else on the channel. Always happy to hear, and I'll see you in the next one.